just get started. Just get started. The longest time in the world is the hesitation between thought and action. Well, at least it has the potential to be the longest time. It can actually be forever. Forever. Einstein, his theory was that time is flexible, time is pliable. And to prove that, beyond what Einstein said, 1 second can actually become an eternity. That's how much it can flex. You can hesitate for 1 second to get started on something, a workout, a project, a task, something that you know you should do. You can hesitate for 1 second. That 1 second of hesitation, all of a sudden it turns into 5 seconds, and then 10 seconds, and then 10 minutes. And then just like that, you drifted into the eternity zone. 1 second became an eternity because something that was gonna happen is now never gonna happen, ever. Why is that? Because you hesitated. You hesitated. So don't take that chance. Instead, take action. Take action. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. You've had enough damn rest. Listen, when you make mistakes, they add up. They add up. One mistake compounds and leads to another, which leads to another, and they can lead you to a downward spiral of destruction. Here's the thing. You know what else adds up? The positive things. The good moves. The small sacrifices that you make to do things right. The adjustments needed to correct problems. The daily discipline required to get you where you want to get to. Those little positive things add up too. And it's obvious, and we know it, but here's the question, why don't we do them? Why don't we do them? Well, it's because, in most cases, it's because they add up slowly. They add up so slowly that you don't really notice the results, right? 1 day in the gym, 1 day in the gym is basically imperceivable. 2 days in the gym, you don't recognize any change whatsoever. 100 days in the gym, and you're almost a new person.
Because a lot of people don't realize that the legacy doesn't happen when you're alive. You know, a true, real legacy, one that lasts the test of time, you don't really get to enjoy while you're walking around on the planet. All right, that's for other people to admire, not you. And this lends itself into a deeper part of this topic, which is this. If you truly want to leave a legacy, you have to do things that are selfless for the people around you. Meaning, you have to provide value. You have to bring them up. You have to solve their problems. You have to inspire them. You have to make them better in every single way. And so the reality and the paradox here is this, is that not only do you not get to enjoy your legacy, but to have one, you actually have to contribute your entire life to other people. And this is the reality. So when you see these entrepreneur people talking about leaving a legacy, leaving a legacy, leaving a legacy, pay real close attention to how they talk about it. Because the truth of the matter is most people that want to leave a legacy because they want to enjoy it, and that's not the way that it actually works.
When somebody would start talking about why something was going to be hard, or why it wouldn't work, or how complicated it was, or what was going to make something so difficult, what we'd say is, we don't care about any of that. We don't care about any of that. Which is an awesome saying. People get so focused on why things won't work and what might go wrong. And if you're not careful, those things can really trip you up. And you can start to wonder if your plan is even feasible, or you might get overly concerned with some possible contingencies, or you can start to overthink and overcomplicate things. Or you can just say, I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of that. Now look, am I telling you to be careless? No, I'm not telling you to be careless. Am I telling you not to consider possibilities and difficulties that might arise? No, I'm not telling you that either. Am I telling you not to think through what you're gonna do and how you're gonna do it? No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that sometimes, especially with like little things, little low risk things that people are sweating the details on, like what workout of the day will produce optimum results? Or what heart rate is best for my cardio development? Or when will you be able to get the best deal on that piece of gear that you need? Or where should we go for dinner tonight? Or when's the most favorable time to get started? Or what's the most advantageous way to do whatever? Lots of questions you can ask yourself, and sometimes it's a good option just to say, I don't care about any of that.
There's a saying that I see frequently all over the internet, and we hear it all the time. Comparison is the thief of joy. And while that could be true, I think it's important to note that it is important to compare yourself to people who are doing what it is you want to do, okay? Ignoring comparison might bring you some peace, but it's also going to eliminate your progress. That's the problem, okay? So when we compare ourselves to people, the key to comparing ourselves to people to the point where we don't get frustrated or as frustrated is understanding where they are versus where we are. Understanding how much time they've put in versus how much time we've put in. We all like to look at people who are far, far, far down the line and compare ourselves to them. I do the same thing. I don't compare myself to other people who are on my level. I compare myself to the best people that have ever fucking lived. And that's the standard that I hold myself to. Now, if I get too deep into that, it can be destructive. It can make me feel frustrated. It can make me feel like I'm supposed to be where other people, it took their entire lives to become, okay? That's not reality. So I think the key, and I want you to really think about this, to really comparing yourself in an effective way is not to avoid comparison altogether. It's to compare with realistic understandings about how much time you've put in, where you are in the journey, how much you have actually invested, how hard you have actually tried, and then to understand that these people that you're comparing yourselves to have actually done more of those things, and that's why they produce more of a result. So don't buy into this idea that you can't compare yourself to anybody, and the only person that I should compare myself to is myself. Yes, you should be better than you were yesterday. Yes, that should be the standard. I am going to be better than I was yesterday. However, that will only get you so far. When you start to look at what it is you want to become, one of the biggest possible tools that you could have for yourself is to look at someone who has done the things that you wish to do and then compare yourself to them. Take an audit of yourself. Do I have the same qualities? Am I taking similar action? Am I working as hard? Am I making the same investment? And that becomes a very valuable tool because it allows you to understand where along the line you need to make adjustments to be better. Okay, am I maybe being a little lazy where that person's grinding as hard as they can grind? Okay, am I not reading, but that person's reading their whole life? We have to audit these things, and that requires comparisons so that we have a measuring stick about are we on the right path or are we not on the right path? So don't buy into this headline culture that we have on Instagram where it's all about, you know, this one hit line. Comparison is the thief of joy. Well, dude, you know what? If you really want to be something, you're going to have to compare yourself to somebody. And we have a massive blessing with the technology that we have now that we can actually observe people's lives that we wish to be like. We never have had that before. And yes, that can be destructive if you don't think about what it took that person to get there. And that's the pain. The pain comes when you want to be, the biggest motherfucking badass that ever existed on the face of the earth, but you haven't done anything yet. You haven't done all that work yet. You haven't put in those years yet. You haven't put in those hours. That's what creates the frustration. If you could understand that this is a measuring stick, and am I on the right pace for where I am in my journey, now it becomes a tool. Now it becomes a benefit.
When you do anything, it adds up. When you do nothing, it amounts to zero. So take the small steps every day. Do what you're supposed to do. And don't expect some incredible results in 1 day or 2 days or 10 days. Worthwhile things take 100 days. They take 500 days. Maybe they take 5,000 days. They take time. But it's little steps that add up. So put in the daily effort. Let that be your reward. Reward yourself. Feel gratification from knowing that you moved the needle, even just a little bit. Rome wasn't built in a day. The Grand Canyon took millions of years to form. And whatever it is you want to do isn't going to happen in 1 day. You have work to do.